You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report's daily scoreboard show, podcast number 290.1, your daily audio sports section.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Central Indiana sports fans. Today is June 8th, 2025. It's a Sunday. It is another day for Central Indiana sports, and therefore another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, podcasting today from headquarters in Jeffersonville, but heading back up north on Monday for golf sectionals. Producer Susie was in the control room, but is taking Daisy out to do her morning business. She'll be back in the control room pretty soon. Coming up, we have Pacers, Fever, and all kinds of local high school postseason action, tennis, track, baseball, softball, and a lot of national news and notes. Before we get to that, I'm going to take this time to beg you. Please go to our YouTube page and subscribe. I promise you, our YouTube page is going to continue to get better and better, and it's kind of our hub now. It's going to be where we do most everything on this podcast. So please go subscribe, even if you're already subscribed at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. We'd really appreciate it. Also, later Sunday, we will have scoreboard shows for boys and girls track state finals, girls tennis state finals, softball semi-states, and baseball regionals. And on Monday, we will have our boys golf sectional scoreboard. Plus, of course, every day we will have Pacers coverage. Lots of Fever stuff coming up, and of course it's race weekend for IndyCar, so we will have that for you all week on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Your Indiana Pacers look to go up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. I cannot believe I just said that phrase. By taking both games in Oklahoma City with a win on Sunday night. Game 2 tips at 8 o'clock on ABC. The Pacers shocked the world on Thursday by erasing a 15-point deficit, including a 9-point hole with under 3 minutes to go, in a 111-110 victory in Oklahoma City. Of course, Tyrese Halliburton hit the shot with 0.3 of a second left for Indiana's fourth historic and indelible victory in this postseason. The Pacers are 7-2 on the road in the playoffs after Thursday's Game 1 win. They are also perfect in games 1 and 2 in this postseason, the last 3 series on the road. Halliburton met with the media Saturday and talked about having success away from home.
I think winning on the road is hard. Winning an NBA game is hard in general, and especially a playoff game, and let alone a finals game, right? It's not easy. But I think you're just trying to be as present as you can. Like that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing we've talked about as a group is this journey is going to be whatever it is, 18, 19 days until, if there's a game 7. So you're just trying to take it one day at a time. And that's how we've approached every playoff series that we've been in as a group is how can we take it a day at a time. So today it's about, getting through the media stuff and getting to practice and locking in on what we got to do better for tomorrow. But we want to have a good practice day today. And I think that's just the way we are approaching it. Because if we try to look too far in advance, I think that's where, you have moments in today or yesterday that don't go the way that they should. So you're just trying to take it a day at a time. And that's the biggest thing that coaches preach to us and we preach to each other as a group is how can we just have a good day today to prepare us, for tomorrow. But, the journey to get here all year hasn't been about, when we get to the final. No, it's just been about taking it a day at a time, especially the start we had to the year. So we're aware of, and it's hard not to be, we're human beings. We have social media. We have friends and family, who tell us all the numbers of, if you can win the 2 games at home, what it will, whatever it'll look like or on the road or whatever the case is. But again, you just try not to pay attention to it as best as you can. And don't let human nature creep in. Just try to take it a day at a time.
It's a bit of a misleading stat since the Thunder forced 24 Indiana turnovers and took 16 more shots than the Pacers did, but Indiana out-rebounded the Thunder by 17 in the win, a vital stat that kept them in Thursday's game. Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, and Halliburton all 3 had double-doubles of points and rebounds. Head coach Rick Carlisle.
The possession stats are always going to be massively important. Ball security, rebounding, the offensive glass, all that kind of stuff. I don't think we're far enough into it yet to do a total analysis of everything. But, like if we didn't win the rebounding battle and turned it over 25 times, there's no way we could have hung in and had a chance.
The Fever won their second straight game without Caitlin Clark and are 2-0 in the Commissioner's Cup after an impressive 79-52 win over the hated Sky in Chicago on Saturday. Indiana led 21-13 after the first quarter and pulled away throughout by holding Angel Reese in the Sky to 32% shooting. 4 Fever players were in double figures, led by Kelsey Mitchell, 17. Natasha Howard scored 13, and roster newcomer Ari McDonald went 3 for 6 from behind the three-point arc and finished with 12 points. Lead assistant coach Austin Kelly served as head coach, with Stephanie White absent dealing with a personal matter. With his son on his lap, Kelly talked about the post-game celebration the players had for him after his first head coaching win.
Yeah, just going in for that celebration in the locker room what did it mean to get your first win as an acting head coach?
Yeah, it's special. We got a great group. So being in that locker room right there at the end, it means a lot. It's something I'll never forget. First win. They did a hell of a job. For 40 minutes of, executing the game plan. And I thought, when we had lulls, the communication out there was really good. They picked each other up when it was needed. And so, great win for us.
Clark is expected to return soon from her thigh injury. The Fever were also without Sophie Cunningham on Saturday. She's been dealing with an ankle injury since the preseason. Also in the WNBA on Saturday, the expansion Valkyries beat the Vegas Aces 95-68. Lawrence North beat Bloomington North by 2 points to claim the program's 6th track and field state championship, but its first since 2003 on Saturday at North Central. The Wildcats scored 38 of their 47 points with their sprinters, including a 40.85 to win the 400-meter relay. That time was 0.15 off of the state record set 2 years ago. We didn't have any local champions in the Central Indiana Sports Report coverage area, but there were a lot of all-state performances, including Mount Vernon Jr. Sebastian Sprague, Yorktown Senior Ephraim Doherty, and Kokomo Jr. Jeremiah Young, going 2, 3, and 4 in the long jump. Of course, we will have full details later on the boys track and field state final scoreboard show. Oak Hill and Wapahani both won regional championships, both in significant upsets, and will meet in Saturday's semi-state opener. The expectation was that it would be number 1 Lapel against number 2 Central Catholic. Instead, it will be unranked Oak Hill against unranked Wapahani. Both won 2-1 on Saturday. They'll be joined in the semi-state by Boone Grove and Westview in what looks like a wide open semi-state. Either way, we will have at least one local team in the Class 2A Final Four. It's Wapahani's 9th regional championship and second in the last 4 years. For Oak Hill, it's their first regional championship in 19 years. Delta won its second straight regional championship Saturday with a 5-2 win over Western. Zane Klein finally allowed a couple of runs in this postseason. He's now gone 17 innings, giving up just 2 runs, allowing both of them on Saturday on just 3 hits in his complete game performance. He's now 3-0 in the postseason and 8-3 on the year. The Eagles will play Andrean in the opening round of semi-state. In Class 4A, number 11 Westfield is in the Elite 8 after a 7-6 win over Harrison Saturday in Lafayette. The Shamrocks will play upstart Goshen in the first round of the semi-state on Saturday. The locations and times of the semi-states will be announced later Sunday. Also in 4A, North Central took out Greenfield Central 6-3 in the first round at Center Grove. And Clinton Prairie scored twice in the top of the 7th and beat Riverton Park 8-7 to win its first regional championship in program history. Kyle Jacobs went 3 for 5 with a double, 2 runs, and an RBI to lead the 21-7 Gophers. We will have scores and details from Saturday's regionals on our baseball regional scoreboard show later Sunday. We may have semi-state matchups and times by then. All local teams were eliminated from the softball state tournament in Saturday's semi-states. We did have a couple of regional teams advance to the state finals in Center Grove and Cathedral. 2A number 3, Andrean took out Alexandria, and reigning Class A champion Rossville in semi-state semifinal and championship game wins on Saturday. Second-ranked Alexandria led the 59ers 1-0 after 5 innings. It was 1-1 after regulation before Andrean scored 3 times in the ninth to take the win. Alexandria's season ends at 20-2. They're going to miss a couple of their seniors, but this team is not going away soon. We're going to hear a lot from them in the future. Defending Class 3A state champion Western beat Mississinawa 2-0 in the morning at the Twin Lakes semi-state before a heartbreaking 9-inning 2-1 loss to Hanover Central in the semi-state championship game at Twin Lakes. The potential game-tying run in the ninth was thrown out at the plate for the Panthers, who sees their season come to an end at 28-4. Like Alexandria, the days of winning are far from over in Rushville. Lots of stars returning for the Panthers next year. In Class 4A, Greenfield Central lost to number 7 Floyd Central 6-1 in the semifinal at Center Grove, before the Highlanders lost to Center Grove 5-1 in the championship. I once saw an absolute classic between those two teams at that school in a semi-state. The bulk of the Cougars' production is also expected to return next season, including superstar Savannah Real. 5 days after winning its first regional championship in program history, Southwood beat South Central 6-3 for its first ever semi-state win in the morning on Saturday at Frontier behind home runs from Riley Thomas and Grace Lambert. However, the Knights lost 7-0 to North Newton in the championship game. Again, we will have scores and details from all over Indiana, every single semi-state, and state finals matchups on our softball semi-state scoreboard show out later Sunday evening. Jasper has always been a powerhouse in high school tennis, but until Saturday had never had a girls tennis state champion. The Wildcats upset number 1 Brebeuf with a 4-1 win Saturday at North Central to claim the program's first state championship. Earlier in the day, the Wildcats beat number 4 Westfield 4-1 in the Shamrocks' first ever trip to the Final Four. Westfield's Alexa Grillo advanced in the singles tournament and is still unbeaten on the season with a 6-1, 6-3 win over Jasper's Harper Wygand. Westfield's season ends at 22-2. That is a program on the brink of greatness. Of course, we'll have our full girls tennis state finals scoreboard later Sunday with details from the finals matches and updates on the state singles and doubles regionals. Coco Gauff came from a set down to win her second major championship and her first French Open title Saturday with a 6-7, 6-2, 6-4 win over world number 1 Irina Sabalenko. At 9:25 Sunday morning, it was defending French champion Carlos Alcaraz against number 1 seed Yannick Sinner, the Italian playing for his third straight major championship. I'm turning that on as soon as this podcast ends. Katie Ledecky and Gretchen Walsh both won their third national championships on the final day of competition at the IU Natatorium on Saturday. Ledecky won the 1500 in 15:36.76, and Walsh won the 50 free in 23.91. Alex Walsh won the 200 IM and Aaron Grimmel the 200 free. The winner of each event and the runner-up for most events will swim in this summer's World Championship in Singapore. That's July 11th through August 3rd. On the men's side, Bobby Fink capped off an impressive week with his 6th U.S. title by winning the 800 freestyle in 7:43.13. And the emergence of the new U.S. stars continued with wins by 25-year-old Shane Cassis in the 200 IM and 22-year-old Jack Alexi in the 50 free. The Reds won Friday's rain-suspended contest early Saturday, 4-3 in 10 innings over the Diamondbacks, then blew out Arizona later in the evening to take the first two games of the series. In the first game, Christian Encarnacio Strand sent the game into extra innings with his sixth inning home run, then hit a walk-off double that scored Jake Fraley with the winning run. In Saturday's second game, Cincinnati scored 5 times in the first and won 13-1 at Great American Ballpark. Encarnacio Strand homered in the first, his fourth of the season, and Gavin Lux hit a grand slam in the fourth, and the Reds led 13-1 after 4 innings. The Reds are still 8.5 games behind NL Central leading Chicago after the Cubs beat AL Central leading Detroit 6-1 by hitting 5 home runs, 2 from Seiya Suzuki. Chicago leads the Cardinals by 4 and the Brewers by 5.5 atop the division standings. And the Cubs are in Philadelphia this week to play a Bryce Harper-less Phillies team. Harper was placed on the injured list with wrist inflammation and will miss at least the next 10 days. The Phillies are 37-27 and trail the Mets by 3.5 games in the East. And Tony Gonsolin was placed on the IL by the Dodgers and is the 14th Dodger currently on the injured list. Don't feel too bad for the Dodgers, though. They lead the Padres and Giants by a game in the National League West. We will have our MLB report with Cody Emerson and Uncle Paul sometime Monday. Check it out. It's pretty good. Number 13, Coastal Carolina became the first team to punch its ticket to the College World Series in Omaha by sweeping Auburn with Saturday's 4-1 win. The other 3 series in the Friday, Saturday, Sunday format were won by the team that lost the first game. So we're going to deciding games between Louisville and Miami, Oregon State and Florida State, and Arizona and North Carolina. Game 1 scores from Saturday were Arkansas 4-3 over Tennessee, LSU 16-9 over West Virginia, Duke 7-4 over Murray State, and UCLA over Texas San Antonio 5-2. Meaning Louisville, Miami, Oregon State, Florida State, Arizona, Carolina, Arkansas, LSU, Duke, and UCLA all have a chance to join Coastal Carolina in Omaha with wins on Sunday. All 8 super regional games can be seen on ESPN and ESPN+. USA Soccer laid another giant egg on Saturday in a 2-1 loss to Turkey in Hartford, Connecticut. Jack McGlynn scored less than a minute into the contest, but the Turks scored twice in 2 minutes and 2 seconds midway through the first half and held on for the win. Of course, Christian Pulisic was too busy or tired or whatever to even bother to show up for the game. What a freaking mess this team is. Aaron Rodgers signed a $13.65 million deal to be the next quarterback of the Steelers. The deal is worth up to $19.5 million with incentives. Rodgers has joined the team's mandatory minicamp. Former Purdue star and current Memphis Grizzly Zach Edey injured his ankle in an offseason workout and will reportedly miss the start of the season after having surgery last week. Edey was 5th in Rookie of the Year voting this past season. Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty won both of the Triple Crown legs that he ran, taking the Belmont Saturday, outlasting Preakness champion and betting favorite Journalism by 3 lengths. Chase Briscoe is on pole for Sunday's race at Michigan, just ahead of Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, points leader William Byron, and Kyle Larson, who will start 5th despite a significant crash at a World of Outlaws sprint car race in Wisconsin on Friday. The race begins at 2 and can be seen on Prime Video. IndyCar and Formula One both have the week off. IndyCar resumes next Sunday night with a night race at the Worldwide Technology Raceway near St. Louis. Formula One is in Montreal this weekend for the Canadian Grand Prix. Thanks so much for listening. Please share with your friends. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. I love you, Susie.